It was a peaceful morning when I decided to lock my ranch gate after hearing about a string of petty thefts happening in our neighborhood. Living in a quiet, rural area, the thought of locking my gate seemed like a no-brainer for safety. However, little did I know that my simple decision would lead to a massive confrontation with the HOA, Homeowners Association, who had a problem with the lock on my gate. It all started when I received a letter from the HOA claiming that I was in violation of the community guidelines. They stated that my locked gate was considered an obstruction and that it violated the HOA's policy on free access. They demanded I remove the lock immediately or face penalties, including a fine or even eviction from my property. Naturally, I was taken aback. I thought this was some sort of misunderstanding. How could they demand that I leave my property unsecured? Not wanting to escalate things, I decided to contact a local police officer to help mediate the situation. When Officer Johnson arrived, I explained the situation and he seemed to find the whole thing a bit absurd. The HOA's claim was clearly a reach, and he could sense the overstep. He laughed lightly and said, "This doesn't even make sense. They're just using their position to push people around." When the officer called the HOA to inform them that their demands were unreasonable, they quickly backpedaled. But then, a shocking revelation came to light. The HOA had been using this as an excuse to harass residents they didn't get along with. Officer Johnson revealed that he had heard of several similar cases where residents were unjustly targeted for minor infractions, and the HOA was using these petty complaints as leverage to push them out of the community. The HOA tried to intimidate me, but with the officer's support and his testimony, they had no case. They dropped the eviction threat, and I was able to keep my lock in place. It was a victory not just for me, but for every other resident who had silently endured the HOA's unfair tactics. As I stood outside my ranch, locking the gate once more, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. It wasn't just about the gate, it was about standing up against injustice, no matter how small it may seem.